It has been a minute since I recorded anything that wasn't of another sentient being, notably a squirrel. Speaking of which, there's one right there on the tree. So, I wanted to share about my Lent. I fasted from ground, or actually beef of any kind, and the extra egg that I would have in the morning with breakfast. Meaning, I'm a 2-egg for breakfast kind of person. I mean, sometimes I'll do one hard-boiled egg, but if I do scrambled, it's always 2 eggs. And if I do the Taiwanese style tea eggs, it's always 2 as well. So for me to give up those 2 items for Lent was uncharacteristic of me. I do not like to fast from food. If you know about Enneagram subtypes, I am the self-preservation subtype, which means that if you ask me to tweak anything in my routine that affects my sense of physical safety, it kind of gives me anxiety. So I decided to do that for Lent. And the beautiful thing that I learned in seminary is that according to Christian tradition, the early church, Sundays do not count as fast days. And so there were a few Sundays that I would go back to the normal sort of 2-egg thing or have some beef, which helped because some holidays fell in there, like the Lunar New Year, where it's hard not to have any beef if you're going to celebrate with family. And because there's a little bit of flexibility in terms of, like, you know, Sunday is now our day of worship, but at different times it was Saturday, so if I sort of broke the fast on a Saturday, I would go back to it on Sunday, but if I didn't break the fast on Saturday, I'd go back to it on Sunday. Again, like, Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath, not the other way around, right? So it's more about the intention of what we would like to do to honor the fast rather than perfectionism to the point where it doesn't make sense. So it was really amazing to realize that my body can't survive without these things that I like. Go figure. But what I also realized was that in curbing my appetite for what I felt was kind of the most important, pleasurable part of my diet, I began to realize that I have been able to find a little more restraint. Not even restraint. I didn't even feel like I had to restrain myself, but I felt even less of a need or desire for other things like Netflix. And so I realized that that was just very natural. Kind of became like the side benefit of giving up something in one area of my life. Sort of paved the way to simplify other areas of my life and a decreased perceived need for other things. My energy felt really good. I don't quite know how to explain it. Energy is harder to talk about, but it felt maybe slightly lighter without becoming ungrounded, is the best way I can put it. I still had some of the, like, little physical things that are part of my body that I deal with daily, as we all do. So it's not like a magic, formula for solving everything, but my relationship with my body I think did become a little bit more connected, a little more integrated. I think the most important shift was my relationship to myself and therefore to others. Something that, is always a work in progress, and a different therapy and coaching groups that I'm a part of have encouraged this. But I think for me it was something that I noticed during the fast was that I was able to meet myself where I am, which is amazing. An amazing concept, and it seems like it should be easier than it is, but it's not. We talk in the helping profession about meeting our clients and our patients where they are. I think it's a little harder sometimes to meet ourselves where we are. So to be able to do that was a very big gift, and I think that was part of not looking to an external source to meet me. Like, I think eggs and beef are the foods that meet me where my embodied self tends to be. But having taken those away, I was able to find myself met in other ways. I had the craziest experience with ground turkey. That's not my favorite food. I'll eat it because it's healthy. But there was one time I had ground turkey, and it gave me the same kind of satisfaction as beef, and I was like, wow, who knew? So stuff like that. I think like Netflix is awesome, and I still love it, and my decreased appetite for it was like, oh, to what extent was I looking to Netflix to meet me where I was, right? So I think that was huge. I had hung out with a friend on Ash Wednesday, so the start of Lent, and then we hung out 2 days after Easter. And because that was such a bounded sort of time frame, I really realized, like, wow, I feel the difference in myself and in them. And one of the things I've been learning in some of my inner work lately, which still kind of boggles my mind, but this idea that if we level up, our sphere will also be impacted for those who are receptive to energetic, movement. And so kind of pulling back my energy from wanting so badly to invest in other people in all the good ways, of course, but in ways that, at some points maybe wasn't the best use of my energy, to now kind of being like, let me focus on myself, and then I think other people will kind of have their own journey, right? And so I really felt that with this particular friend, which was really amazing. And I happened to kind of have a couple missed sessions and some travel in between most of the month plus of Lent, and so it gave me a time to also kind of recalibrate away from my regular therapy session and learn that I can meet myself in those places too. Although I have gone back to therapy, and I think regular therapy is always good. And it was just another instance of like, I really can meet myself where I am. Everything else is kind of enhancing that core need, but that core need is something I can take responsibility for. So those are my Lenten lessons at the conclusion of this time. There were some beautiful days. There were some rainy days. Today is a rainy, cloudy day. It kind of reminds me of what everybody used to say when I lived on the East Coast. April showers bring May flowers. So for the rest of this month, we'll keep kind of chewing on those lessons and enjoying the roots I've planted in terms of meeting myself where I am. Oh, last thing. When I met up with my friend 2 days after Easter, we got Japanese barbecue, and there was plenty of beef to be had, and that was great. So now I'm going to lunch. It is Friday, and I didn't want to get wet, and I feel lazy, so I'm gonna do drive-through. But very grateful for everything, and ready to eat lunch.